We decided this time to welcome Juliette Mattioli from Thales because we have a lot of topics here at the Technology Innovation Institute which are related to the use of AI in general for secure systems. I mean, and trustworthy, of course, AI-based critical systems is one of them. And so I was very glad when my colleagues of Thales had proposed to do a presentation on a very important theme actually now, which is taking a lot of momentum around something which is called confiance AI. And confiance in French means trust. And Juliette, I'm sure she'll be explaining in more detail what it is about. So I'll just go briefly on her CV and provide you a bit of ingredients of the work she's been doing in her career. But she received a PhD in mathematics for AI from PSL University in Paris in 1993, and then became an R&D engineer in a company called Thomson CSF. And then she joined in 2001 Thales, which she's been doing a lot of research in different domains, going from AI-based combinatorial optimization to topics like knowledge-based reasoning, which is also a big topic that we're trying to handle here at TII, and then, of course, to multi-criteria decision and big data. She was appointed Strategy and Innovation Director at the Thales Technical Directorate in 2010, and as an AI senior expert in 2012. She's a member of various, I would say, committees, organizations, and also initiatives that are taking place in France, actually, like this Plan IA 2021 for the Paris region. And also, since 2020, she's also the vice president of the Data Science and Artificial Intelligence Hub with the Pôle Systématique region, which is a sort of a cluster, which is in the region around Paris. And she's been also working intensively in research with publications, patents, and also leading a lot of national and European projects. So she's got a lot of expertise in the domain that we're interested in, and she's going to be giving a bit of a flavor of what's going on in this general thematic of Confiance AI. Now, in terms of organization, what I propose is that we don't stop her during her talk. She gives her presentation in a full manner. And once she finishes, then you just can like flag your hand, and then we give you the voice so you can ask your questions directly. So Juliette, the floor is yours, and you can start basically your presentation.
Thank you for the introduction, and hi everyone. I will try to illustrate what we are doing in the huge program called Confiance.ai for trustworthy AI-based critical systems. But why we need to work on that, and what is the main difference between AI for consumers, as we can find in the GAFAM, Google, Facebook, Amazon companies, and why in Thales and other critical systems companies, we are focusing on trustworthy AI. First of all, critical systems mean safety critical, where if there is any problem, you can have some huge impact in your life, such as automotive or in the aeronautics domain. Mission critical, the failure has also an impact in the activities. Sometimes you can have mission critical in healthcare industry, and business critical is the failure impact the economy or the business, and you can have that in finance industry. So the main difference between consumer and critical system is first on the data we have to deal with. In critical system, we are obviously working on open data, but we use also other type of data, such critical data or anonymized data. There is also a problem of the data management. We are not able in every domain to use public cloud. Sometimes we use private cloud or also embedded means, because we want to embed an AI-based component in an aeronautic or in a plane. there is also a huge problem and a major difference in terms of computation. As the other, we can use cloud computing, but we want to embed our components in critical systems. So we go through edge computing. Then, in terms of the main goal, we use AI for any domain. So most of time, it's a kind of prediction or perception, but we use also for planning, collaborative system, decision support, and so on. So it's more than only activities for consumers, for game, and so on. Of course, as it is critical, the security and especially the cyber security is a very huge topic we have to deal with. And if I compare, in terms of consumer, you find Google, Facebook, Amazon, and also the Asiatic part of Baidu and so on. And I will focus on the critical system and especially on the French consortium, where you can have Airbus for the aeronautic part, Renault for the automotive part, also with Valeo, Naval Group, Safran, Thales in the defense domain, and Atos and Sopra as software providers. So when I speak about AI, I speak about designing capabilities to cognitive capabilities for an artificial system. And when I said cognitive capabilities, I mean perception, I mean knowledge representation and reasoning, I mean decision, I mean, of course, learning, and I mean also planning and communication. And in terms of AI, there are two main paradigms. The first one, which is the most fashion today, is the data-driven AI. So it's the AI based on data. And the second one, which is also called a good old-fashioned AI, GOFAI, is knowledge-based AI. And in the middle, when you want to combine these two paradigms, you have the hybrid AI. In fact, data-driven AI, you find machine learning with all sub-techniques such as neural networks, deep learning, transfer learning, and so on. And you have also computer vision. So it is more dedicated to perception and sometimes to reasoning in order, for example, to make some prevision capabilities. But you have in the data-driven AI other type of technologies, such as evolutionary algorithms, or also called genetic algorithm, where you can use it for decision-making or planning. So it's another type of data-driven AI. On the opposite, on knowledge-based AI, you have various technologies. The most famous are knowledge representation based on ontology. And if you have today Google, it's because there are knowledge graph. You have reasoning and also inference systems. Some are based on expert systems, some are based on fuzzy inference, other could be causal inference, analogy inference, and so on. There are also a lot of techniques based on optimization, AI planning, scheduling, and sometimes you can use also meta-heuristic in order to solve complex problems. And last but not least, some combination of knowledge-based AI and data-driven AI to address multi-criteria decision support or collaborative decision. And last but not least, all means to develop communication capabilities based on natural language processing, based on chatbots, to have real conversational agents. So in the next slide, when I spoke about AI, I spoke about data-driven AI, but also knowledge-based AI and hybrid AI. So the overall AI activities. Why we need to work on trustworthy AI? It's because we want to deploy some AI-based components in critical systems. And for that, we have to be sure that we go toward at least homologation, but sometimes through certification of AI. And in that context, we decided in France to set up a huge program called Grand Défi National for Grand Challenge, National Challenge, based on the 3 pillars. The first one is the technological pillars, and I will focus my presentation on that, where we want to revisit all the engineering process in order to design, deploy, maintain AI-based critical systems. But we have also to push the standardization aspect, so it's the norm pillar, and we have to work also on the homologation pillar, which is more application-driven. So it's a huge program, and I will focus only on the technological pillar through the project called Confiance.ai, and you will have all the information by using this URL, which is very simple, which is www.confiance.ai. Why we need to work on the overall engineering? It's because when we want to deploy an AI-based component in a critical system, we are faced to a lot of challenges. First of all, we have some challenges on data engineering and on knowledge engineering, because we have to provide methods and tools to improve feature engineering, to know how to qualify data sets or knowledge base, to be sure that your data sets, your training data sets or your knowledge base are representative of the problem you have to solve. So it's the representativeness issue. And when you deal with data-driven AI, we have to deal also with bias mitigation or reduction and corpus balancing. So how to deal with these open questions? The second question is concerning the algorithm itself. So for that, we have to provide methods and tools in order to be sure that the algorithm is correct, meaning that it is doing what it is supposed to do and only what it is supposed to do. Sometimes, due to the law, we have to ensure that the algorithm is transparent. And we have also to improve the robustness with respect to vulnerabilities, and sometimes with respect to cyber vulnerabilities. As the system, as there is often a human in the loop in the system, we have to take into account the human-AI interaction. So we need to develop some capacities to explain the outcome of the system, and the user could be the AI engineer. So we mostly speak about interpretability, but it could be also the end user. So we have to deal with explainability in a natural language adapted to the context of the usage. So human AI dialogue is a main issue. Then, as it is critical system, we have to take into account and to revisit safety engineering and cybersecurity engineering to provide proof of the robustness. And last but not least, as it is a system, we have to revisit software engineering and system engineering to be sure that the system is maintainable, to give some means for the audit in order to go to certification. So for that, we propose to set up a huge program called Confiance.ai, where the scope of AI is what I have mentioned. So it's data-driven AI, knowledge-based AI, hybrid AI by combining the two main paradigms, but also to take into account distributed AI for a huge information system, or embedded AI when we want to embed an AI component in a platform. We have to revisit all the engineering, data-driven data engineering, knowledge engineering, and so on. I mentioned that the slide before. And for that, we want to develop a workbench in order to be able to design, deploy, and maintain this kind of system in the domain of automotive, aeronautics, defense, manufacturing, and others. The main partner of the program are here. It's an industrial partner, and we have support of academic partners such as CEA, INRIA, and the two main institutes in France called IRT Saint-Exupéry and IRT Systemics. So it's a huge program for France, and the aim is to develop methods and tools in order to be able to design and to maintain AI-based critical systems. To do that, we first say that the aim and the main goal is to bridge the gap between all the proof of concept and real systems. And for that, we have to take into account a lot of issues. That is, of course, safety issues, but we have also to take into account the responsibility, the sustainability, the fact that most of the system will evolve in an uncertain environment, and so on. So all this aspect has to be taken into account, and we will, during this 4 years, develop methods and tools to support AI algorithm engineering, to support data engineering for data-driven AI, and knowledge engineering for knowledge-based AI, software, system, safety, and cybersecurity engineering, also cognitive engineering, because we have a human in the loop, with the prism of safety and cybersecurity. And the first action was to define the trustworthy AI taxonomy, because all these are sub-discipline with their own vocabulary, and we want to be sure that we are dealing with the same concept. We propose a global structural view when we put on this huge map all the main issue we have to address. So first of all, the first green column is dedicated to software engineering and algo engineering in order to design, deploy, and maintain AI module, including all the capability of explainability. And the dark blue column are more dedicated to system engineering. Of course, the main line is split on data-driven AI, knowledge-based AI, hybrid AI, and distributed AI. And we have also to provide methods and tools to support that, to be sure that we can have some interface with legal frame, regulation frame, standardization, and so on. So we will have also action on smart standards dedicated to AI. The program is made in 3 batches with an incremental roadmap. And the first year, we will focus mostly on data-driven AI with low criticality systems, and mainly for perception, maintenance, and quality control in the manufacturing domain. The data are mainly on image and video data or time series data. Next year, we will focus on data-driven AI with medium criticalities, and we will enlarge the scope of AI with knowledge-based AI. We will enlarge also the data sources by using text, audio, and domain knowledge in order to address forecasting issue, optimization, and autonomy. And last 2 years will be devoted on the overall AI, including hybrid AI, and on high criticity. So that is the roadmap of the program. The program is so huge that we have split all the activities in 7 projects. The project on the diagonal in the middle are mostly on AI engineering in terms of how to develop a component. So the first one will be the first one. EC5 is dedicated to data and knowledge engineering. And it is in this project that we will try to develop some tools for bias reduction in order to address also the frugality on the data sets, to be sure that the data sets in the machine learning corresponds to the operational domain, and so on. The second one is, so the second one called EC4 is dedicated to how to design trust AI components. So it's the trust by design of an AI algorithm. The third one is how to qualify the component in terms of characterization, verification, and validation. So it is used, for example, when you develop some component with an existing platform such as PyTorch or whatever, because we have to characterize that and to prove that some properties such as robustness is also in the component generated by this kind of platform. And the last one is mainly dedicated to how to embed this component and mostly how to optimize the accuracy and the swaps constraints, swaps for size, weight, and power constraints. The two vertical projects are more dedicated to system engineering. The first one will be develop methodologies in order to guarantee that all the property you have demonstrated in the component is still available when you embed the component in the system. But it will also provide some KPIs for key performance indicator or metrics in order to qualify the trustworthy. The second one is focusing on all the methodologies to go to the certification for the avionic domain or to homologation for the automotive domain. And the last one, in gray, it's the workbench itself, the reference environment, with all tools generated by the other project. And as methods and tools has to be validated with real use cases, we use use cases for that. At the end, the reference environment will be an open environment, interoperable with all the standard activities or other kind of platform. And we will also set up a kind of organization. It could be a startup or whatever, in order to be sure that this environment will be maintained during the coming years. As I mentioned, we work a lot in order to define a first taxonomy. So the taxonomy is split on, first of all, to define what is the definition of this kind of concept, and also the definition of data science, big data, and other type of concept. The second one is a kind of taxonomy of AI with a lot of sub-discipline. I put some example, but there are more. The third one is on engineering, and you have all the engineering I mentioned, with, for example, safety engineering based on risk management and SRS case, and we are working, for example, to develop some machine learning assurance case process. And last but not least, as we are dealing with trustworthy, trust, we are also defining the various dimensions of trust, and we try to be sure that accuracy is a part of the trust, explainability is part of the trust, and so on. But life is not so simple, and in fact, when I want to put some links with trustworthy to the other, I put some links. So explainability is close to artificial intelligence. Quality dimension could be provided by system engineering, but also by data engineering in order to qualify the data set, and so on. So there is a lot of links. So at the beginning of the study, I was convinced that we will be able to define a trustworthy AI ontology, but now we are more going toward a knowledge-based trustworthy AI with all these concepts. Second part is just to focus of what we are doing on data engineering and all the challenges we have to deal with. when you develop some machine learning component or data-driven AI components, you have the first step dedicated to data specification. Then you have to manage and characterize the data sets. Sometimes you are in front of the problem of frugality in terms of data. And then we have also to deal with the operational design data sets. So the main issue is how to provide some guidelines for labeling, so data engineering and feature engineering issue, and so on. One example of what we have done this year on that is here. We developed on data management and characterization a tool based on the work done by CA called Pixano, in order to improve the activity of labeling a huge data set. So the aim is to provide some tools taking into account images such as classical camera images or infrared images, video and LiDAR, and to build some tools in order to have boxes around the interest zones, segmentation, and so on. So we develop and we enrich the Pixano tools. And now this is one of the major components of our workbench. Concerning algo engineering, we use what it is done on algo engineering, classical and algo engineering. I remind you that when you design an algo, you have a problem. Then you formalize the problem and you analyze also the data. You model the problem if there is an ambiguous representation, and you design your algo. Take your constraints analysis, the embedded constraints analysis, in order to implement in the right target, hardware target. You qualify, evaluate the algo, and sometimes you have to tune all your parameters. And last but not least, you capitalize your algo with a lot of documentation. That is the classical algorithm engineering workflow. But life is not so simple that sometimes you have to go back and improve your design, your implementation, and so on. And if I took that workflow in the context of machine learning, I need this kind of steps. So data and knowledge management is what we call usually in the ML process, data understanding and data preparation. The design phase is to identify the best learning algorithm and to train the model. Then you evaluate and you deploy. So we use the same workflow for the ML algorithm pipeline. And if I put exactly the same pipeline in some symbolic AI approach, such as constraints solving pipeline, I have exactly the same steps. So I have to formalize, I have to model the problem in terms of constraints. Sometimes I have to design some global constraints, then I use heuristics for the implementation and the evaluation. So the objective of AI algo engineering is to give some methodologies in order to design that, and to give some tools, for example, to improve implementation, to assess the evaluation. So that is the aim of the project. In terms of system engineering, we have to be sure that the overall development is robust, is in line with all the non-functional properties that I need to have my critical system. So that implies a lot of disciplines and a lot of rules. So that implies people coming from system engineering, data engineering, algorithm engineering, software, and so on. And the aim is to have this trustworthy environment in line with all the main issue I have to deal with. And if I took only the way where an algo engineering people will interact with the other discipline. So the algo engineering is in the middle, and you have to deal with system engineering to be sure that his algo implementation will be integrated in the overall system. He has to discuss with hardware engineering in order to take into account the implementation constraints, and so on. And for that, he has to solve a lot of problems. So verification and validation is part of the problem. He has to be sure that if we have to embed in a specific target, which is, for example, a parallel architecture, you have to take care about all the constraints and so on. So the interface between an AI algo engineer with the other discipline is very huge. And it is why we need to provide tools and methods to support all these activities. So as you remember, the batch one is dedicated to data-driven AI, and I will just illustrate what's happened when we want to deploy a data-driven AI component in a critical system. So the data-driven AI, you have to characterize, and sometimes if you have if you are in a Frugality data set, you have to augment the data, you have to evaluate the model, you have to develop, to monitor, and so on, train the model. And here you are in the MLOps classical loop. Then you have to use it and to integrate it in the VNV workflow, so the system engineering workflow. That means that you have a lot of issue to deal with. So now I will focus on machine learning for perception. So it's just a sub-problem of what I want to tackle after the 4 years. And that means that I have to train the model and to be sure that the model is robust. So I have to train the model versus adversarial attacks. So I need to have some tools to improve building blocks, and I have to provide some methods and tools to support the building blocks. I have to provide methods and tools in order to evaluate the model. So the evaluation is not only on accuracy, for example. It could be also on how to be sure that the model is robust with respect to an attack, adversarial attack, robust with noise, and so on. So I have to put some KPIs and to evaluate them. I have also to be sure that the model could be embedded in the target machine, and so on. So just if I take a component dedicated for perception with machine learning, I have a lot of issue to deal with when I want to embed these components in a critical systems. And for that, I have also to have some methods, and the methods will support data engineering, mostly to define all the data quality dimension, to have some guidance for feature engineering and so on. Some methods also for algo engineering and how to qualify the algorithm after the design, to provide some system engineering and cognitive engineering in order to monitor the model, to guarantee some safety, quality, safety properties, including the assurance case, and so on. And last but not least, I have also be sure that all when I want to embed the components, the swap trade-off are rich, and swap means size, weight, and power. So some outputs at the end of the 4 year. We are now at the first year. So at the end, we will have the Trustworthy AI Engineering workbench with a lot of tools, methods. We will have also an handbook in order to define the process, the taxonomy. We will have some components in order to characterize the data set, the data training set, but also the knowledge base. Some methods and tools for helping the design by trust by design, engineering tools dedicated to data and knowledge, methodologies for going to the certification or the homologation, and means to optimize the trade-off to embed the components. And we are not alone to work with all that problem. So Confiance.ai is a French program. We work a lot institute or projects. The first one is Dataia, which is the French institute dedicated to data science and AI in the area of Paris, and a huge program called DEAL, which is a program based in France and in Canada. You have DEAL in France and DEAL in Canada, dedicated to dependable and explainable learning. We are also looking for what's happened in other countries. US has developed a huge program called AI Next with the same spirit. There are a lot of activities called AI Safety Landscape, CLAYS, and AI for Europe, and so on, dedicating to how deploy AI in a sound way. It could be for risk-based system, it could be for critical system, or for also a system dedicated to the economy or other type of topics. And it is also one of the major goals of the JPI for the global partnership of AI, which is an outcome of the G7 countries dedicated to our AI. Now, I think it's time for all the questions. So I close my my screen. and I will answer to all the questions.
Well, thank you so much, Juliette, for your presentation. Now, if there are any questions from the attendees, please.
Don't be shy. No question? No, I'm sure that I was not so clear. I didn't mention that this program, within this program, we have today 10 PhDs, starting PhDs. We have also an open call for SMEs and startups in order to use their technologies. So it's also a way to federate the French ecosystem on trustworthy AI.
That's very interesting. So actually, it's good news. Like the presentation was very, very clear, so that no one has actually questions. I'm asking again if anybody has any question.
So in that context, there are some emerging conferences on that. I have to mention the Safe AI workshop based on the AAAI conference. There are also some workshop on EGKI, and it's a subject which is increasing in terms of all the activities. I think that there is a question.
Yes, there is a question from Ayub Messouz. He's thanking you first for your presentation. And then his question is, how are you dealing with data-related issues, basically the absence of relevant data for training?
Yeah, it's a huge problem. So the absence, it's more difficult than the unbalanced corpus. So first of all, it is why there is a project completely dedicated to data engineering. So the first issue is how to be sure that the data sets you use to train your machine learning algorithm is compliance with the operational concept. So that is the first issue we have to deal with. And the second one is how to train or to augment the data set. One way is by using synthetic or simulate data. Another way is to use hybrid AI and to use domain knowledge in order to compensate the lack of data. And it is the way few-shot learning go from, but there are also other type of approach. And there is also the way to use data with poor labeling. So one way is to use the tool I have mentioned, Pixano, in order to help people to label data or to automate the data labeling. Another way is to use unsupervised machine learning, but it's another story.
Actually, I would have a follow-up question to that. Like, how do you, let's say, how people label the data? Are there already tools for that, or?
For the moment, there is a lot of way. It depends at least to the nature and the type of the data, because you will not label image as you will label a text or an audio systems. There are some companies dedicated to that in France, but outside of France. Sometimes you have expertise and you try to capture the expertise in order to automate, to make some automation of this data labeling. It's dependent on the project, it's dependent on the data, and it's dependent also on the question you have.
Thank you so much for your answer. We have 2 more questions. So a question from Jean-Pierre. He's asking if this Confiance AI program is only limited to French startups and research labs, or could a research institute like TII contribute? And this is possible. How would that happen, if it's the case?
For the moment, it's a French national program. We are discussing to open next year or the year after for external countries. We are also discussing in order to set up such kind of program in other countries, in Europe, in Canada, such as DEAL, where you have a DEAL project in France and his twin brother, if I may, in Canada, in order to increase the capacities, because the problem is very huge. And I think that France alone can't solve all the problem behind.
Okay. So actually, Frédéric's question is actually, I think that you partly answered that. He's asking what are the collaborations, the international collaborations of Confiance.ai?
Yes, for the moment, there is no international collaboration, but we are discussing with Canada, we are discussing with Europe in order to have more deeply collaboration. It could be on one subtopics, or it could be on the industrial applicative domain, because Confiance.ai is more dedicated to automotive, aeronautics, and industry, and we don't address healthcare, and we don't yet address finance industry and so on.